Good morning, students. Today we are going to start lesson number 4, that is memory, storage devices, and data representation. Starting with the introduction of this chapter, like human being needs to memorize things which can be retained and recall on needs. As like that, computer also need to store data and instruction for future use. That's why memory is a part of computer where data and instruction are stored. A computer deals with different types of memories. Two major types of computer memories are: first is primary main memory, also you can say primary memory, and another is secondary auxiliary memory, also you can say secondary memory. Means a computer is basically measured in two computers memories. First is primary memory and another is secondary memory. Information in a memory of a digital computer is stored in a form of binary digits 0 and 1. It will be stored in a binary digit, that is 0 and 1. This binary digit in short are known as bytes. इसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? It's known as a bytes. A bit is a binary digit which is either 1 or 0. In a bit, the binary digits are stored which will be 1 or 0. A group of 8 bits is known as a byte. जब 8 बिट्स साथ में होते हैं तब को हम क्या बोलेंगे? दैट इज बाइट. Storage capacity of a computer memory is measured in the term of bytes in form of KB. KB means kilobyte, MB. MB means megabyte, and GB. GB means gigabyte. Consider table number 4.1 that shows the relationship between these terms. Now you can see below table is given. This is the table of storage capacity measures of computer memory. First of all, you can see what is 1 bit. 1 bit means a single digit which will be either 1 or 0. What is 8 bits? 8 bits means 1 byte, that is the combination of ones and zeros. Next is what is 2 tens. 2 tens bytes means 1024 bytes. It means 1 KB. KB stands for kilobyte. 220s bytes means 1024 means 1024 kilobytes. That is equal to 1 MB. MB stands for megabyte. 230s bytes, that's equal to 1024 megabytes. That means 1 GB. GB stands for gigabyte. And the last is 240 bytes. That means 1024 gigabytes is equals to 1 TB. TB stands for terabyte. Here you can see the table of all the bytes, how KB will measures MB, GB, TB, and also starting is mentioned 1 bit means a single digit either 1 or 0. 8 bits means 1 byte, combinations of ones and 0. 1024 bytes means 1 KB, 1024 KB means 1 MB, 1024 MB that means 1 GB, and 1024 GB that means 1 TB. KB stands for kilobyte, MB stands for megabyte, GB stands for gigabyte, and TB stands for terabyte. Now, moving to the memories, first is primary memory. Primary memory also known as a main memory. प्राइमरी मेमोरी को हम मेन मेमोरी भी बोल सकते. So primary memory, also known as main memory, is an important part of a computer in which data is stored for quick access by computer processor. It is made for larger number of cells Each cell is identified by a number called an address of the cell. Each cell contains a piece of data. When there is a requirement of data, the cell address is used to retrieve the data. If the primary memory is organized in such a fashion that the time required to store or retrieve data from a cell is independent of the cell address, that is, any location of the memory can be chosen randomly for the use. This is known as an RAM. RAM stands for Random Access Memory. And also there are other access methods which are not random. For example, sequential access, that is FIFO and LIFO. FIFO stands for first in first out and LIFO stands for last in first out. In sequential access memory, data is stored serially or sequentially in a long string. When you want to access some part of the string, you have to pass through the previous part of the string. Like just like in an audio tape, if you want to hear the third song, first two songs must be fast forwarded. It is the process of FIFO. In FIFO, it's just like queue, where first entry will be sold first and the last will be entered at the last. And in the LIFO is like a tray of a paper, like the paper which you had put at the last will come out the first. In figure number 4.1 shows the FIFO and LIFO of the access. Here you can see the image of FIFO, like first in, first out. You can see in and system processor and out. In the LIFO, LIFO stands for last in, first out. Here you can see in, system processor and out. This is LIFO and FIFO diagram is here. So as we have completed LIFO and FIFO access mechanism, now moving to the next topic. Next topic is RAM. First of all, RAM stands for Random Access Memory. Here you can see the image of RAM chip also. Description of the RAM, that is, RAM is volatile memory and the content written in RAM requires continuous power supply to retain it into the memory. On modern computers, the term RAM or just memory is used instead of primary for main storage, and the hard disk, CD, DVD collectively describe secondary storage or auxiliary storage. Now here you can see figure number 2 that shows a RAM chip. This is the image of the RAM chip. Move to the descriptions. There are basically types of memory. There are basically two types of memory. The first one is static and the second is dynamic. In the RAM, there is basically two types is there, static and dynamic. Now we will see the description of these two. Firstly, dynamic. Dynamic RAM means DRAM. DRAM stands for Dynamic Random Access Memory. Needs to be refreshed thousands of times per second. And in the static RAM means static random access memory does not need to be refreshed. Dynamic में refreshed होता है. Many times here they have mentioned that in the dynamic RAM they need to refresh thousands of times per second, but in static that does not refreshes, which makes it faster, but it is more expensive than dynamic RAM. Both types of RAM are volatile, meaning that they lose their content when the power is turned off. लाइक जब तक आपका कंप्यूटर ऑन होगा तब तक वो डेटा कहाँ पे सेव होगा, तब तक वो डेटा रैम में सेव होता है। सडनली अगर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चली जाती है तो वो डेटा आपका जो होता है वो लॉस्ट हो जाता है। लाइक सपोज आप कोई भी वर्क कर रहे हो, एक्सेल बना रहे हो, प्रेजेंटेशन प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो या फिर कोई डॉक्यूमेंट प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो, अगर आपने सेव नहीं किया है और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चली जाती है तो फिर वो डेटा भी आपका चला जाएगा। और सपोज हमने वो डेटा स्टोर लाइक सेव कर दिया है वो डॉक्यूमेंट, तो वो कहाँ पे सेव होता है, इट विल सेव इन द सेकेंडरी memory, but temporary in the RAM. All the data will store temporarily, and in the secondary memory data will be stored permanently. Now computers also contain read only memory, it is ROM, which are used to permanently record data and instruction. Content of ROM can only be read, means ROM में क्या है, that only you can read that content, you can't edit it. Unlike RAM and ROM retains its content even when the computer is turned off. ROM is an idle memory to store critical instructions into the computer, such as boot programs, like programs that start up the computer system, like printer devices, file, and phones. Sorry. A variation of ROM is a programmable read-only memory. It is PROM. PROMs are the manufactured as a blank chip on which data or program can be written with a special device called PROM programmer. There is a special type of PROM called erasable PROM. That stands for EPROM. And EPROM allows the content of PROM erase by exposing it to ultraviolet light. Instead of ultraviolet lights, electrical signals are used to erase content of PROM. Such memory is called electrical erasable PROM. इस ये सब जो मेमोरी होती है उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे, इट इज नोन एज एन इलेक्ट्रिकल इरेजेबल PROM. Now, EEPROMs are very useful in manufacturing USB pen drives, cellular phones. Like in the phones you can see that SD cards are there, like memory card in the phones, digital cameras, and portable MP3 players and micro SD card. Figure number 4.3, you can see that typical SD cards memories special readers are available that read directly from the card. Here you can see the image. Here you can see 4 GB memory card is there on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you can see memory card reader is there. Means that they can only read your data. Whenever you are attaching, they can read your data. The concept of read-only memory can be utilized to create an firmware and hardware utility with some software instruction in an integrated fashion. Like firmware is to store a non-violent memory device such as ROM, EPROM, or flash memory. As mentioned in the previous chapter, that such firmware are developed by the hardware manufacturing company and provided free once purchase the hardware. Another alternative is to be download such firmware from companies online stored on in the website. Some of are the free and some of are the purchased. Many times firmware needed to be updated as and when you change the hardware device. Many mobile phones are firmware over the air to update your mobile firmware. which makes the activity independent of cables, computers, and third party software. So, this firmware normally supports functions such as controlling the hardware as well as facilitating use of this hardware. Because of this reason, users are not generally allowed to change the firmware. Most of the companies would like to store firmware in hidden fashion in order to make the system transparent for that user and reduce complexity to the work. Like for example, washing machine, traffic light, digital camera and microwave oven have some utilities such as quick wash in washing machine and alarm in microwave oven. These basic utilities are not to be changed. However, users may add their contents, message, videos, and picture into the mobile phone memory. On the other hand, software programs written by the user, such as Superstore Bills, Payslip, and Markship printed, can be changed by the user provided they have source code for their software. There is a special high-speed storage mechanism called cache. Cache memory is a small and high-speed memory within the computer central processing unit for frequent access. The process of such memory is to increase the speed of the computer processor. When the processor needs to be performed any read or write operation, it first checks the cache memory. Here you can see in the table number 4.2 shows the difference between RAM and ROM. Here you can see the difference between of RAM and ROM. On the left hand side you can see RAM stands for random access memory and ROM stands for read only memory. RAM supports reading and writing operations into the computer. But in the another side, you can see ROM supports only read operations. Like if you are attaching the SD card in your phone, if you are attaching the SD card digital camera, you can only read that. On the left hand side in the RAM, you can see data and instruction are stored into the during its operation. But in the ROM, instruction are stored into it during its manufacturing. And RAM is volatile memory and ROM it is non-volatile memory. So this is the difference between RAM and ROM. Now moving to the next concept. Our next concept is what is secondary memory. Secondary memory क्या है? So here you can see the description of that primary memory is generally costly and has capacity limited. And also you can say there is a limitation in the capacity in primary memory. Further, it cannot retain data for longer period of the time. जो प्राइमरी मेमोरी होती है वो जनरली कॉस्टली होती है और उसकी कैपेसिटी जो होती है वो लिमिटेड होती है और वो फर्दर यूज़ के लिए नहीं चल सकती. बट however we need to store the data instruction for the long time so that they can be used later. For this purpose, secondary memory, secondary storage is used. अगर आपको फ्यूचर यूज़ के लिए डेटा रखने हैं, डेटा स्टोर करने हैं, तो उसके लिए आपको किसका यूज़ करना होगा? You have to use secondary memory or secondary storage device. Like the popular secondary storage devices are hard disk, CD, DVDs, and pen drive. CD stands for compact disc, is circular in shape and one side it will be tiny. DVD stands for digital versatile disc. Like अगर फ्यूचर यूज़ के लिए आपको अपना डेटा स्टोर करके रखना है और फ्यूचर में भी आपको उसको एक्सेस करना है तो उसके लिए कौन सी मेमोरी आती है? सेकेंडरी स्टोरेज डिवाइस लाइक हार्ड डिस्क, CD, DVD and pen drive, these all are used. Secondary memory is not directly accessible to processor of a computer but requires use of computer's input and output channels. Such memory is usually slower than primary memory, but it always has higher storage capacity. Further, the secondary storage memory is non-volatile and data remains unchanged even after switching off the computer. This is a very important point that if your कंप्यूटर इज स्विच ऑफ, अगर आपका कंप्यूटर आपने शट डाउन कर दिया तो भी उसमें डेटा कुछ चेंज नहीं होगा। जब तक आप डिलीट नहीं करोगे तब तक वो डेटा वहाँ से नहीं जाएगा। Secondary memory or secondary storage device is also known as auxiliary memory or auxiliary storage. In the figure number 4.4 representation memory hierarchical, like you can see, computer memory is divided into two types, primary memory and secondary memory. In the primary memory is divided into two types, RAM and ROM. In the RAM, you can see SRAM and DRAM. In the ROM, there is a PROM, EPROM, and EEPROM. And also on the other side, you can see secondary memory. In the secondary memory, example as is given that hard disk, CD-ROM, pen drive, memory card. These all are of the secondary memory. Students, in short, I will tell you that what we have done today, that we have seen what are the storage devices, types of the storage devices, as well as we have seen the explanation of RAM and ROM, and also types of the RAM and ROM, and also we have seen the description of secondary memory. In the next video, we will move to the next concept, that is each secondary storage devices we will see in description, like hard disk, CD, and that all we will see in the next video. But in this video, we have seen this: what is primary memory, what is RAM, what is ROM, as well as we have seen LIFO and FIFO access mechanism, and also I have told to you that what is the meaning of secondary memory. In short, I will tell you that whatever the data is stored whenever you are opening the computer, whenever you are starting the computer and accessing the anything, the data will be stored temporarily in primary memory. But when you click on the save button, it will be directly stored in the secondary memory. And also we have discussed the types of primary memory. Primary memory is divided into two types, RAM and ROM. There are also types are there of RAM and ROM. Thank you so much everyone.